All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. We've got a very exciting trip coming up this weekend. We are now in California, and we're going to be heading into the Anzo Borrego Desert. So Brad from Trail Recon will be joining us, as well as Marco from Overland X, and Marco's daughter Paula and her husband David will also be there. And we're just going to head out into the Anzo Borrego Desert. I'm sure they're going to show us around. They know everything about this area and all the good trails, so whatever we get up to is probably going to be an amazing trip, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm also just looking forward to seeing them all again. We've been friends for a very long time, and we've done many trips together, and yeah, it's going to be an absolute blast. I look forward to it. I am wondering how the Jeep's gonna, handle some of the trails. I'm not exactly sure the difficulty of trail they're planning on taking us on. But obviously we still haven't got the four-wheel drive fixed, but I have a bit more confidence in it after the last trail I did with you guys in the Jeep. Kind of boosted my confidence that it can make it up some decent stuff. The only thing I'm wondering is since we're obviously in the desert, if we hit sandier areas, then I can see that being more of a problem. But it's all in the spirit of adventure. We'll head out there, see what happens, and yeah, now all we have to do is meet up with the rest of the crew that we're going to be heading out with, and then I'll update you guys further once I get a little bit more information from Brad and Marco. Oh wow, guys, this gas station we just pulled into has like 100 awesome Jeeps in it. It must, I don't know exactly what's going on, but there's so many amazing Jeeps here, just awesome builds. And I'm assuming this is where we're gonna meet up with them. So all right, so I'm gonna pull around to Brad and the rest of the guys, and then we'll discuss our plans. But take a look at this, just so many amazing rigs. It's quite amazing. Pulling up to Brad's Jeep Gladiator. It looks like he's got a Patriot camper trailer as well. All right, gonna hop out and say hi. It's been a while since we've seen everybody. It's gonna be an amazing weekend.
Hey, how are you?
Good to see you. Good to see you again.
And then there's a couple spots in the back, on the back side of the shower wash.
We're heading out with the crew, with Marco and his wife Georgina, Brad, and then obviously my family, and then Paula and her husband David will be meeting us out there in a little bit. But this is going to be awesome. I don't quite remember all the names. They're all ones I probably wouldn't be able to pronounce anyways. But it sounds like we're going to be heading out on an amazing trail. So far the convoy is, we got Brad in the front, and then we got my parents and Peter in the truck in front of me, and then behind me is Marco. So we've got some interesting sights to see, some historical sites, and then also just some spectacular views, and hopefully some fun off-road as well. So it turns out I spoke with a nice gentleman that came by to take a look at the Jeep, and all those Jeeps there, it looked to be at least like 70 to 100 Jeeps all in there, and it turns out that was actually the San Diego Jeep Club, and they meet up every once in a while to do trails. This time it was in the Anzo Borrego, and they were heading out to Plaster Rock, I believe. And so they meet up and do lots of things, or he was saying they'll just meet up at like In-N-Outs and stuff just to talk with like-minded people and plan the next trips. And then they also do a couple different fundraisers and charities to help out the local communities, which I think is awesome. But man, again, like I could have spent all day in that parking lot just walking around taking a look at everyone's amazing rigs, but we've got some pretty amazing ones in our own convoy here, and I'm looking forward to taking a look at them when we get into camp. I mean, every time we're out here, it's always just amazing to see Brad and Marco's rigs. It always gives you great ideas for what you can improve on your own vehicles just by looking at what they've done with theirs. So we're heading on the Juan Bautista de Anza National Historical Trail. I'm not sure if I said that correctly. So we're just gonna pull off here for a little bit and air down the tires before heading on the main trail. Alright, so before we head out on the trail, just put the stints on. We're going to be dropping down to about 18 psi, which should help with off-road travel, but also since the Jeep can't go into four-wheel drive, I think we need to go a bit lower than we normally would.
All your gear.
And that, like when they say cold, it
Yeah,
would
it
be
does
because
get
you're in
cold
the
at night.
elements with nothing.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's not like they're stopping at a Walmart every
Right,
couple days,
right.
you know?
I'm thirsty, I need a Gatorade, a little dehydrated.
Yeah.
Alrighty, aired down to 18 psi, and just learned a little bit of the history here. It's really amazing what the people did, that they were able to travel through such harsh conditions with, you know, no Jeep, no engine, no heater. It's pretty amazing. But we're gonna follow the rest of the crew, and they have a neat little, I think it's like you go under a bridge, and then there's like all this collection of parts of people's race trucks, and just, it's pretty neat. So we'll go take a look. So another really interesting thing is how close we are to the Mexican border right now. Mexico is literally right behind the mountains that are just right behind us. We're only like a couple kilometers at most from being in Mexico, and that makes sense because this area reminds me a lot of it. And since that's kind of one of our plans, we don't know if that will end up working out, but we would like to head into Baja this year at some point. This is kind of a good test run for the Jeep and for the packing style and everything. It just will give us a good feeling for Baja before we head down there. Those mountains over there are actually in Mexico, so that's how close we are. It's not that far at all. But this whole area that we're driving through right now is very interesting. It looks kind of like, I mean, I've never been to the moon, but it looks like the moon, at least what I would think it would look like, or Mars. It's just super flat, and it's got you know, white sand, but then with all these almost volcanic looking rock, black rocks on top, which gives it like a really interesting sprinkled pepper look. But if we're heading down to my left, which you can't see yet, but there's kind of like a canyon down that way. If we're heading anywhere down there, this is gonna be a very fun trail. I think I was right. Looks like we're heading down into the lowlands. Wonder how the Jeep's gonna fare on this trail. So far it's been doing fine in the sand since we've dropped to such a low PSI. Obviously the tire flattens out and it gives it a lot more grip and travel room. So it's interesting to see how the truck is doing on all this. It's obviously a much bigger vehicle, but it's still, you know, on all the trails with me first of all, but then it's also following 3 Jeeps into the desert, which is pretty amazing. For like the interior of that thing is just, oh, it's like a luxury RV that can go off-road. It's such an amazing vehicle, and I'm really loving it so far. Right here you can see a little bit of the behind the scenes, how we get some of the shots on Epic. Even though it may look like one of those fancy gimbals that holds a camera off of your truck as you drive, it's actually just Peter hanging off the side of the Jeep. Got kind of a drop off here. Could you imagine the bikes on this trail, Pete?
I know.
Oh,
It'd be fun.
it'd be sandy but fun. So in the last video I was talking a bit about flash floods and washouts because of course it was relevant where I was, but man, the flash floods in this area must really be something, because the washouts I was driving in last week were, you know, barely wide enough for my motorcycle to fit through, but here this is like a full-on river worth of water that would have been just absolutely rushing through here when it comes down from the mountains. And Brad and Marco were just telling me a story of when they were out camping and a thunderstorm hit, and man, it's really something you have to be careful for. Luckily I don't think we're supposed to have rain until Monday, so we should be fine camping out here, but they were just saying that, like, even if you think it's going to rain or there's a possibility it's going to rain, then just camp somewhere high, or, you know, depending on where you are, maybe don't go camping. In the past we haven't had the best history with water with camping with Brad and Marco, because in Baja, when we did a trip with them and a couple other friends, we camped too close to the beach during a full moon, and me and Pete were in a ground tent and everyone else was in their rooftop tents, and the tide came in and fully just, like, our tent was full of water. Peter's boots floated away. One of our friends lost an entire, like, wooden box full of cast iron that floated away, and the water was like halfway up our tires, and there were stingrays by the ladders, and it was a pretty incredible experience. We were able to drive up a little bit ahead onto a sandbar, but there was just water all the way around us. It even blocked us from going onto mainland. Like, it became this little island that we were camped on. So it made for an amazing adventure and a fun film, but it could have been a lot worse. So ever since then, water's always just something that we keep in the back of our minds as we're traveling. I just love driving in deep sand, especially when you got the right tire pressure. Then you're just kind of going for it. It's a lot of fun. Woohoo! Oh, I love it. It looks kind of interesting with the light sand and then the black rocks kind of speckled across it.
Yeah, they almost look like volcanic rocks.
Wow, yeah, this is what I was talking about. This is like a moonscape. This doesn't look of this world. It's really, really interesting to drive across. Just such a barren area. Like, there's literally nothing, and as we came up onto this spot, there's no vegetation either. It's just dust and rock. Whoa, it's getting dusty. It looks so cool though, like looking at Marco's beast of a Jeep, just with his yellow lights and everything, and then just dust pouring over him. It looks really cool. It's like a Mad Max scene or something. So the next place of interest that we're headed to is, I forget the exact name, but it's something to do with oysters. At first, when I heard the name, I thought, you know, there's oysters that you could buy or something. But it's actually just an area with tons of fossilized oysters because, like I mentioned, this used to be the bottom of the ocean. So I think that'll be pretty neat to see. I've always loved fossils when I was young, looking for them and stuff. And fossils of oyster is definitely not something I was expecting to find way out in the middle of the desert. So it sounds like a cool thing to see. Alright, so this is the spot. We're gonna hop out and take a look at some fossilized oysters.
Pretty cool, huh?
Way out here.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
Not something you'd really expect to find out in the middle of the desert.
Not at all.
And that was it?
That was it. I never ate oyster again.
Oh,
I'll eat them sometimes, if they're steamed or whatever, but I won't eat a raw oyster.
one more check. You can still run like crazy. Great, what's good here?
Rocket is,
Donka. Thank you. Just staying at the oyster place a bit longer to eat some food. Mother just made a delicious open-faced sandwich for me. Nice, simple trail food, but when you're in the mood and when you're hungry, tastes delicious. All right, so we had a...
Loud and clear.
All right, so we had a delicious lunch at this oyster fossil spot, and now we're gonna be heading farther down to that bridge I was telling you guys about. Paula and David met up with us, so they're part of the convoy now with their awesome Jeep as well. So now we're all together again and ready to keep on adventuring. So we got a rockier section coming up. This will be interesting. It's always so much fun to go out on trails with, first of all, a group of friends, but also friends with like interests. And to top it off, we're all YouTubers as well, so we can all like help each other get over rockier sections and help film each other, and it's just kind of a unique experience to be doing something you love with tons of people that also share your passion. So we reached the sandbar that's under the bridge, and it looks like maybe part of that club that we saw
It is Saturday, huh?
is here as well, because there's a lot of other people taking a look.
Yeah. Quite a crowd. Oh, it looks neat. What is this place? It's just called the Sandbar. Very cool.
Oh wow.
And, we can pull over something. Let's see if we find it.
Yeah, so this is obviously a pretty popular spot, and you can't see it right now, but I'll take you guys and show you. It's really neat, all the old posters and pieces of vehicles of other adventurers that went through this area. was a really neat sight. It's always cool when communities kind of gather around to do stuff like that. It really reminded me of in Alaska, the Signpost Forest, and also in some other spots in Baja when we were down there. But this one's really unique since it's all like the off-road industry and enthusiasts all putting their, you know, broken pieces of their vehicles from when they were riding through this area, and it's pretty neat to see. And like how many people show up. There was at least like 40 different vehicles in the parking lot there, and then that Jeep club that I was talking about earlier is now going by, so there's like a convoy of literally 100 Jeeps driving by right now. It's pretty amazing to see. As we were about to pull onto the road, that Jeep club went by, and you know, it took like 20 minutes to get back onto the road again because there's just so many Jeepers going by. It was cool to see all the rigs and stuff, but it's just always, it's such a great community. Like everyone's always so nice, and like everyone's waving, and it's just awesome. Such an awesome thing to see. And then of course when there's other Jeepers, I was filming their convoy because I thought it was cool, and then when there's other Jeepers going off-road the other way while we're on the road, they're of course filming us as well. So there's a whole bunch of people that like Jeeps, looking at Jeeps.
So looks amazing. Good. Wow, that is really amazing. That's delicious.
Marco.
Hey.
Brad. Thanks for everything.
Yeah, of course. So hopefully we'll see you soon after you're being out for a while.
Alright guys, so we had a beautiful night in camp with Marco, Brad, Paula, Georgina, and David, and now we're going to be heading back to Arizona to pick up the rest of our stuff, hopefully fix up the white Jeep, and then we might be meeting up with Sean James from my Self-Reliance channel, which I'm super excited about because I followed him for years, and hopefully I can get some ideas from him for my island series. Lando, up, come on, up. And then we'll be coming back down here, and then we hopefully will be meeting up with Brad and Marco again and exploring more of the Anza Borrega.